everyone, Sensei Victoria Whitfield here from victoriawhitfield.com for your weekly love letter. This week I was channeling on what is our topic for learning practical ways to love yourself. And the messages that came through are a little bit of a toughie this time, but I'm excited to cover it with you. It's forgiveness. Ta-da! Oh God. It can be very difficult to forgive, especially when we've been done wrong, when we've been victimized, when an injustice has occurred or we've been offended on a deep core level. There's some things that can just rock you out of alignment and tend to leave that like a curve in your spine. It's just never going to be the same ever since that happened to me. So, however, when that happens to you energetically, that can create stagnant energy, or what some people would call blockages. Just as a side note, I personally do not believe in blockages. There's no such thing. Like, if you look at science and the way that energy works in molecular structures, when something is solid, it's just moving very slowly. The molecules are moving very slowly. That is more of what I believe. What looks like a blockage is just something moving very slowly. So you just raise the vibration and then it clears out. So, that being said, if you are feeling blocked, if you're having resistance to making a headway in certain areas of your life, it could be that there's something that you need to forgive. Now, there's a ton of material on you have to forgive and forget, and people just use the word forgive as if we pop out of the womb knowing how to do that. I don't know about you, but for me, I could really use a little bit more teaching other than do it. Okay. I've tried it, and it ends up looking like an artificial or superficial forgiveness cycle rather than a wholehearted and full-spirited forgiveness. So when your forgiveness of someone is artificial or superficial, what does that look like? That would look normally like you have performed the act, the physical act of forgiving the person, right? You've said to them, I forgive you. Or you've told people, I forgive you. And that's all well and nice, but after you perform the act, you continue talking about the injustice that has been done to you. Or you continue turning over in your head or telling people about, oh, he did me wrong, or I can't believe they did this, or this happened to me, and isn't that bad? Telling your story and the attention seeking. That is a big sign that you haven't really forgiven and let go what has happened. It's important to know this because there's a universal law that states where attention goes, energy flows. So whenever you think over and over, you keep running that old tape in your head about someone in particular or an event in particular that was not very good, you're sending it energy. And the way that Spirit made this very clear, my spirit guide gave me this fantastic concrete example. He said, when I was asking, how do I make this clear to people who don't really understand where your attention goes, energy flows? What's that supposed to mean? He told me, Victoria, tell them, see their energy as if it was money. That changes the entire way that you feel about talking about this person, right? So for example, let's say you have some neighbors that maybe you're in an apartment, they live above you, and they like stamp on the floor and kick things around, and they smoke and they drink and have crazy parties, and they know that you hate it. So instead of moving past the fact that they're being so egoic and attention seeking, you mirror their egoic attention seeking behavioral pattern by talking about them and saying, oh, I live by the worst neighbors. They're terrible. You know, I try to be a better person and do all this positive stuff, but man, some people are just bad. And don't you think so? And pulling the energy of other people's emotions in. In telling that story about them, though, you may feel like you're promoting your positive, better than them mindset. But remember what my guide said. Think of your energy as money. So every time you are talking about your crazy neighbors, you are giving them money, currency, energetic currency. You are paying out of your energetic bank account and giving it to them. I don't know about you, but maybe I do, actually. That's why I'm talking to you. If I'm giving the person who hurt me money when I talk about them, I would stop in like a millisecond if I knew that. Can you imagine? Let's make this much more, a little bit more difficult to, a little bit more emotional. What if this person physically hurt you? Would you want to pay them money for the rest of your life, all day, every day? Just give them all of your money? They hurt you maybe sexually, or they hit your car and there's a terrible car accident. Would you want to pay them for the rest of your life? No way. If anything, they should be paying you, right? So superficial or artificial forgiveness looks like you are paying them after you have forgiven them. Wholehearted, full-spirited forgiveness looks a little bit different. So there is the saying that there's a forgive and forget aspect to forgiveness. You have to choose to forgive that person, and then you have to forget the wrong that was done. Sometimes things are hard to forget. And I can think back on different experiences in my life which are unfortunate. And yeah, I can remember them, and yeah, they still stink. But am I going to talk to them? No. I don't want to give them money, right? Energetic currency. I don't want to pay out of my energetic spiritual bank account to that person. So that's one thing. But the forgetting energetically looks a little bit different, other than you being like, oh, I'm just going to act like it never happened. No. It's a little bit more nuanced than this. And now I'm hearing the oracle card calling to me. So I haven't read what the description is for this oracle card in particular that wanted to weigh in on this week's topic. But it's from the Healing with the Fairies oracle card deck. Very powerful. One of the earlier oracle card decks from Doreen Virtue. And the card that came through to contribute to our talk about forgiveness as a way of loving yourself, we're getting there, was honoring your true feelings. So, and there's a picture of, it looks like a fairy is, it's like a spider fairy that's weaving a web next to a waterfall. Very interesting imagery. Someone in the energy just said that this has to do with the interconnectedness of life and making sure that things are in balance. Just like a spider's web, it takes strength from its symmetry, so things being in balance. So let me read this to you. Honoring your feelings. By drawing this card, you're urged to listen to and follow your true feelings. Do not betray yourself or rationalize that it's acceptable to deny your inner voice of truth. I'm going to stop there. I'm going to keep going, but for now I just want to stop and emphasize the sentence that says, do not betray yourself or rationalize that it's acceptable to deny your inner voice of truth. In artificial forgiveness, we tell ourselves that we forgave the person, or we tell our friends and our family or anyone who will listen that we can take attention from, right, to fill that void in our heart. You know, when we're really looking for love and acceptance, we tend to take attention from other people to vampire it out of them, to kind of suck the attention out of them and energize the gaps and the holes in our heart. We'll be going into healing our hearts more later this month at the Sacred Mirrors Love and Relationships Healing Retreat. So there's information below this video if you want to learn more about that. But the artificial forgiveness brings out this sense of you're betraying yourself and you're rationalizing. And it can create you into this convenient role of the martyr. Feel bad for me because I'm so good. I'm being so good to this person. Or feel bad for me because I'm guilty for what I did in the past. I didn't even forgive myself. Well, you know, this is another kind of forgiveness that we need to do to practice loving ourselves, forgiving ourselves. So the martyr continues to carry the cross even after the crucifixion, even after everyone is saved, after everyone's good and fine. They're like, oh, I'm still carrying the cross. Look at me. Put it down. That one was for you. Put it down, okay? Let me continue reading, and then we'll wrap this up quickly. You have an inner counselor who is very wise. This source of wisdom speaks to you in both physical and emotional ways. Perhaps you have gut feelings that are speaking loudly to you, or physical reactions to situations such as a tightened jaw or a nervous stomach. Your heart may be drawing you toward a particular geographical location, a specific career, or a certain type of relationship. You may feel compelled to leave a particular situation that is unacceptable. The fairies know the importance of heeding their own feelings, and they ask you to do the same. They say, please don't discount what you know to be true in your heart. Follow your emotions as they are your inner compass that will steer you home and keep you warm, safe, supported, and joyful. If you're unclear about which emotions you're experiencing, write down your thoughts and feelings in a journal to gain clarity and understanding. And there's an affirmation that accompanies this card. I listen to, honor, and follow my true feelings, knowing that they are answers to my prayers. So, the reason why this card is coming up, honoring your true feelings, is that we're talking about forgiveness. And there may be an aspect of doubt coming up in you now that we're talking about this subject. I said, well, did I really forgive that person? Or have I really forgiven myself? The fairies made it clear that you need to take time to write down how you feel about that situation. And look at what you write. Describe what happened, for example. Describe what happened to you, the wrong that was done, or the wrong that you did. Or listen to how you talk about yourself. For example, if you're telling someone, are you speaking very negatively, or is there a lot of emotion still in it? Remember what we said about the energetic currency. If there is a lot of emotion, a lot of negative terminology and putting yourself down or putting that person down and making yourself feel better by saying, oh, he was such an idiot. Man, he's missing out. Or, or she was so needy. I can't believe she did that. Or how could she be so careless? That kind of emotion behind it, you're paying that person energetically. Take your power back. One way, and they're telling me that this may have to be another video because this is a whole nother can of worms, but I'm just going to hint at it. Feel free to Google after this video. One way that you can forgive and forget. Forget with a sense of delete. Cutting the cord. We are cutting the cord between you and the other person. You are no longer feeding the situation, regardless of what it is. One technique for that level of forgiveness that, you don't have to know all of what's going on for it to work is called Ho'oponopono. So I'm going to repeat that. Ho, and then there's like an apostrophe. Oponopono. Okay? Basically, this practice is from Hawaii, obviously, practiced by the kahunas, where we take 100% personal responsibility for how we feel in life and for being in charge of what's happened to us. We take 100% responsibility no matter what it is that is bothering us. And in the practice of Ho'oponopono, you look at the offending image, person, situation, words, anything. You could even be doing this on behalf of someone else. Okay, that's what Dr. Lew, I think his name is, L-E-W, did, and Joe Vitale studied him in his book on called Zero Limits, I believe is the name of the book. Anyway, the way that you perform Ho'oponopono is to the person. For example, you say, I am sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. No matter what. The words are encoded with healing energy to release the pattern in you that is creating the offending situation. And you say it like a mantra, as in on repeat. You know how people do Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum. They just they rattle it off. Mantra work. Ho'oponopono is best when you do it over and over, and it evokes an energy that releases out of you. You'll feel it in your body. So if you're concerned that you may have artificially forgiven someone rather than wholeheartedly and full-spirited forgiven someone, try out Ho'oponopono. Comment below. Let me know how it works for you. But again, the 5 steps, and I'll put them below this video, in the love letter in particular. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. Okay? Saying that over and over again. Because this is the way to love yourself, is to release yourself from this pattern. You don't have to hold on to resentment of other people or yourself. It's toxic for you. It's an unloving act against your body and against your energy to hold on to resentment that can cause very serious diseases to grow in your body. So if you want to remain healthy, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, practice forgiveness. Start with Ho'oponopono. Okay? All right, we're rooting for you. I'm right there along with you. I practice this regularly. So if you want to swap stories or ask for advice in a particular situation, email me back. Let me know. Send me a response video if you want to, if you're watching this on YouTube. But share this, like this. The reason why you share and like is because that allows more people to see this and spreads the healing out on a farther spans. Okay? All right. Lots of love. Mwah! See you next week.